Euphoria is an American teen drama television series created and principally written by Sam Levinson for HBO and based on the Israeli miniseries of the same name created by Leshem and Daphna Levin. The series' main character is Rue Bennett, a recovering teenage drug addict who struggles to find her place in the world. Euphoria's executive producers include Levinson, Zendaya, Leshem, and Gary Lennon. The series is filmed at Ulysses S. Grant High School in Los Angeles, California, and Sony Studios in Culver City, California. The show has received mostly positive reviews, with praise for its cinematography, score, performances of the cast, and approach to its mature subject matter. It has also been considered controversial for its nudity and sexual content, which some critics found excessive due to the teenage setting. It is the second most watched show in HBO history, behind Game of Thrones. Euphoria premiered on June 16, 2019. The series was renewed for a second season in July 2019. Two one-hour specials were broadcast in December 2020 and January 2021. The second season premiered on January 9, 2022, and in February 2022 the series was renewed for a third season. The series has received numerous accolades, including nominations for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Drama Series. For her performance, Zendaya won 2 Primetime Emmy Awards and a Satellite Award for Best Actress in a Drama Series. Zendaya was nominated for the same award for Season 2, as were Sydney Sweeney, Coleman Domingo, and Martha Kelly. Premise: teenagers in the fictional town of East Highland seek hope while balancing the strains of love, loss, and addiction. Topics such as child abuse, drug abuse, toxic relationships, toxic positivity, hookup culture, social media, mental illness, codependency, infidelity, relapsing, repressed homosexuality, sobriety, human trafficking, domestic violence, sexual assault, toxic masculinity, drug dealing, dating violence and grief are explored. Cast and characters: Zendaya as Rue Bennett, a teenage drug addict who is fresh out of rehab and struggling to find her place in the world. She serves as the show's narrator. Maud Apatow as Lexi Howard, Rue's childhood best friend and Cassie's younger sister. Angus Cloud as Fesco Fez O'Neill, a local drug dealer with a close relationship to Rue. Eric Dane as Cal Jacobs, Nate's strict, demanding father with a dangerous double life. Alexa Demi as Madeline Maddie Perez, a popular student and Nate's on and off girlfriend. Jacob Elordi as Nathaniel Nate Jacobs, a high school athlete whose anger issues mask his sexual insecurities. Barbie Ferreira as Catherine Cott Hernandez, a girl fighting for body positivity while exploring her sexuality. Nika King as Leslie Bennett, Rue and Gia's mother. Storm Reed as Georgia Gia Bennett, Rue's younger sister. Hunter Schafer as Jules Vaughn, a transgender girl who enters a turbulent relationship with Rue after moving to East Highland. Algie Smith as Christopher Chris McKay, a young football player and Cassie's ex-boyfriend who has difficulties adjusting to college. Sydney Sweeney as Cassie Howard, Lexi's older sister and McKay's ex-girlfriend with an infamous sexual history that continues to haunt her. Coleman Domingo as Ali Muhammad, a man in recovery from drug addiction who often speaks at Rue's Narcotics Anonymous meetings and eventually becomes her sponsor. Javen Wunna Walton as Ashtray O'Neill, Fez's unofficially adopted little brother and a drug dealer. Austin Abrams as Ethan Daly, Kat's love interest. Dominic Fike as Elliot, a new friend of Rue's, who comes between her and Jules. Episodes: Season 1. Specials. Season 2. Production. Conception. In 2006, Sam Levinson began drafting different versions of what eventually became Euphoria, based on his experience with drugs as a teenager. He was invited to a meeting with HBO about an adaptation of the 2012 Israeli television series Euphoria created by Ron Leshem, Daphna Levin, and Tamara Yardeni. In 2019, Levinson said HBO's head of drama, Francesca Orsi, liked the raw and honest portrayal of drug use and other teenage problems in the Israeli series. In a press release, Orsi described the series as kids meets train spotting with no parental supervision. The concept for Euphoria was based on Levinson's personal experiences as a teenager and his struggles with anxiety, depression, and drug addiction. In a meeting with Orsi, he recalled, "We just had a conversation about just life and her life and my life and various struggles that, we've been through and things, and she said, 'Great, well, go and write that,' and I said, 'What?' And she goes, 'Everything we just talked about.'" Levinson has also cited teenage anxiety as a whole as an influence for the series. "There is this consistent anxiety that I think exists in this generation that I think informed the whole filmmaking process." In June 2017, it was reported that the series was in development at HBO. Production team: Euphoria is a CO production of The Reasonable Bunch, A24, Little Lamb, Dream Crew, and HBO Entertainment. It has 16 executive producers, including Levinson, Leshem, Levin, Yardeni, Hadis Moses Lichtenstein, Mirat Tovi, Yoram Makati, Gary Lennon, Zendaya, Canadian rapper Drake, Future the Prince, Ravi Nandan, and Kevin Turan. The pilot episode, Pilot, was directed by Augustine Frizzell. Levinson has served as Euphoria's showrunner since its premiere, and has written every episode. He has directed every episode except the pilot and the Season 1 episodes 03 Bonnie and Clyde and the next episode. The production was given a pilot order on March 13, 2018, and on July 30, it was announced that HBO had given the production a series order. The series was renewed for a second season on July 11, 2019. Production for Season 2 was scheduled to start in the second quarter of 2020, with the first table read on March 11, but the COVID-19 pandemic delayed the production. Production resumed in March 2021, with filming from April to November. On February 4, 2022, HBO renewed the series for a third season. Before the series' second season, HBO ordered two specials. The first, Trouble Don't Last Always, premiered on December 6, 2020, and follows Rue as she deals with the aftermath of leaving Jules at the train station and relapsing. The second, Fuck Anyone Who's Not a Sea Blob, premiered on January 24, 2021, and follows Jules's side of the story. The second episode was both CO written and executive produced by Levinson and Hunter Schafer. HBO announced that the special episodes would air 2 days early on HBO Max. Casting: in June 2018, it was announced that the pilot would star Zendaya, Storm Reed, Maud Apatow, Astro, Eric Dane, Angus Cloud, Alexa Demi, Jacob Elordi, Barbie Ferreira, Nika King, Hunter Schafer, and Sydney Sweeney. In October, Algie Smith was cast to replace Astro as McKay, and that Austin Abrams had also been cast. Astro reportedly quit the series after shooting the pilot as he was uncomfortable with the sexual content involving his character. In April 2020, Calvin Harrison Jr. joined the cast, but by May 2021, he had dropped out due to scheduling conflicts as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In August, Dominic Fike, Minka Kelly, and Demetrius Lil Meech Flenory Jr. were added to the cast. On August 24, 2022, Ferreira announced via Instagram story that she had decided to leave the series. Filming locations and style: primary photography takes place in Sony Studios in Culver City, California. Ulysses S. Grant High School in Los Angeles stands in for the fictional East Highland High School. According to the California Film Commission, the first season of Euphoria received $8,378,000 in incentive tax credits. The first season was filmed over a combined total of 104 days. The second season's production costs totaled $96,685,000 after a total of 176 filming days. Subsequently, the second season received a $19,406,000 tax credit for employing over 15,000 people in California. For Season 1, the show was shot digitally. Starting with Season 2, the show was shot on Kodak Ektachrome film stock, which cinematographer Marcel Rev attributed to a desire to invoke some sort of memory of high school. Episode titles. Many of the episode titles for Season 1 are references to late 1990s and early 2000s song titles that correlate to the episode itself. For instance, '03 Bonnie and Clyde is a reference to the 2002 Jay-Z and Beyoncé song of the same name. The loyal relationship between Nate Jacobs and Maddie Perez in the episode mirrors that between Jay-Z and Beyoncé in the song. Reception. Critical response. Euphoria's first season was met with a positive response from critics, with much of its praise going to its acting, story, visuals, and approach to mature subject matter. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, the first season has an approval rating of 80%, with an average rating of 7.3/10 based on 97 critical reviews. The site's critical consensus summary states, a uniquely challenging and illuminating series, held together by a powerfully understated performance from Zendaya. The review aggregator website Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned a score of 68 out of 100, based on 26 critics, indicating mostly favorable reviews. Ben Traverse of IndieWire praised the show's authenticity, how HBO grounds itself in stark reality, and Zendaya's performance and narration. Tim Goodman of The Hollywood Reporter noted Zendaya's performance and the handling of the subject matter. Pilot Viruet of Observer called the show visually stunning and praised the ensemble performance, but criticized the writing as shaky, filled with clunky lines, and recommended that the show keep its focus narrow. Jamila Stewart of Vogue stated that Euphoria still has a palpable impact on where fashion trends fall today. The first of the series' 2 special episodes, Trouble Don't Last Always, received widespread critical acclaim for its writing, performances, and shift in tone and content from the first season. On Rotten Tomatoes, the episode has a score of 96%, with an average rating of 8.44/10 based on 23 critical reviews. The website's critical consensus reads, Euphoria slows down the tempo without losing the beat in a special episode that pairs a raw Zendaya with a steady Coleman Domingo to create small-screen magic. On Metacritic, the episode has a weighted average score of 84 out of 100, based on 10 reviews, indicating universal acclaim. The second of the 2 special episodes, Fuck Anyone Who's Not a Sea Blob, also received critical acclaim, with particular praise for Schaefer's performance and writing, as well as the episode's distinctive directorial approach, emotional resonance, and exploration of trans identity. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a score of 95%, with an average rating of 7.9/10 based on 22 critical reviews. The site's critical consensus reads, by centering on Jules' journey, Fuck Anyone Who's Not a Sea Blob adds welcome depth to her character and gives Hunter Schafer plenty of room to shine. On Metacritic, the episode has an average weighted score of 78 out of 100, based on 10 reviews, indicating generally favorable reviews. The series' second season received mostly positive reviews, with critics praising the performances and visuals but criticizing the season's pace and characterization. On Rotten Tomatoes, the second season received a certified fresh score of 81%, with an average rating of 7.2/10 based on 119 reviews. The site's critical consensus reads, as willfully provocative as ever in its second season, Euphoria still isn't for all tastes, but when its addictive ingredients are mixed just right, the results remain intoxicating. Metacritic assigned the season a score of 74 out of 100 based on 19 reviews, indicating generally favorable reviews. IndieWire's Ben Travers criticized the sexual content but appreciated Zendaya's performance, writing, after 7 of the 8 episodes, Season 2 is exactly what a drama seeking to spark conversation fears most, it's skippable. Rebecca Nicholson for The Guardian gave the second season 2 out of 5 stars, writing, this long-awaited second season has decided to lean into its crueler instincts. USA Today's Patrick Ryan praised the performances of Zendaya, Schaefer, and Fike, but wrote that the new episodes are much less captivating when they shift their focus away from Rue and Jules. Criticism and controversy. Some commentators and organizations have criticized the show's explicit content, including self-harm, excessive drug use, and sexual material. The conservative media advocacy group Parents Television and Media Council called the series dark, depraved, degenerate, and nihilistic and asked HBO and AT&T to end it. Common Sense Media, which provides information relating to media's suitability for children, also noted the strong adult themes and advised against teenage viewership. One scene involving more than 30 shots of penises was criticized by both critics and supporters alike, with Esquire calling it pointlessly gratuitous. The Guardian wrote that writers and producers should find new and different ways to shock audiences. In 2022, Minka Kelly said she felt discomfort at the quantity of nude scenes in the show. Samuel Getachew wrote in a culture piece for Vogue that the show's depictions of trauma aestheticizes it in a way that his generation is particularly vulnerable to. Levinson acknowledged the controversies over the show's content, saying that some parents will be totally fucking freaked out. Augustine Frizzell, who directed the show's pilot episode, said that the explicit content should help foster a conversation between parents and teenagers. Levinson also said that he hopes the show opens up a dialogue due to the disconnect between parents and teenagers. Zendaya issued a warning both before the show and Season 2 premiere about its deeply emotional subject matter. HBO voiced objections to some sexually graphic scenes, but said it would not interfere with the show's creative process. The show includes viewer discretion warnings and a website for mental health and other support group resources. Ratings. The show's premiere averaged 577,000 viewers in its time slot, a number that increased to 1 million after the same night linear replay and preliminary viewing on HBO Go/Now. The hashtag #Euphoria HBO trended number 1 in the US and number 3 worldwide on Twitter after the premiere. The first season was the most watched of HBO's series in the 1849 demographic, with episodes averaging 6.6 million viewers. The Season 2 premiere drew 2.4 million viewers across all HBO platforms, a series high. It also marked the strongest digital premiere night performance for any episode of an HBO series since HBO Max's launch. At the end of its second season, it became the second most watched HBO show of all time, with episodes averaging 16.3 million viewers. According to Variety, Euphoria became the most tweeted television show of the decade in the US, with more than 30 million tweets related to the show during the second season, 51% more than during Season 1. Season 1. Specials. Season 2. Awards and nominations. Music. Euphoria's score was composed by English singer, songwriter, and record producer Labrinth. The song All For Us, performed by Labrinth and Zendaya, is hinted at throughout Season 1 before being performed as a large musical number at the end of the season finale. Labrinth makes an appearance in the show alongside Zendaya to perform their song I'm Tired. The show also makes extensive use of popular music, including hip-hop, trap, R&B, experimental, indie rock, standards and doo-wop, with some episodes featuring over 20 songs. For their work on Euphoria's first season, music supervisors Jen Malone and Adam Labor won the 2020 Guild of Music Supervisors Award for Best Music Supervision in a Television Drama. Scores. The score album for the first season was released by Sony Masterworks through Milan Records on October 4, 2019 for digital download. The album was also released on vinyl on January 10, 2020. The score has been described as the holy lilt of gospel, orchestral and electronic, and was favorably reviewed by Variety. The score album for the second season was released by Columbia Records on April 22, 2022, in digital and physical formats. Like the previous one, it was composed and produced by Labyrinth. Soundtracks. Season 1 soundtrack.